You are watching
Okay. Have you
Xirtus.
heard of garbage in, garbage out? GIGO, 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 GIGO.
Um,
Amber's like, I can see why this song didn't hit. Yeah, that's fair. Fair
I
enough,
don't know what
lady.
this is, but I've heard this line before.
Okay, garbage in, garbage out. So with AI particularly, but this is about societal ideas, rubbish in, rubbish
Okay.
out. So they like to say, uh, all like if you don't get good information, then you'll have bad information because you can only work with the information you have.
Right. So it's eumemics, right?
So pray, Mr. Babbage, if you put into the machine wrong figures, with will the right answers come out? I'm not able right to apprehend the kind of confusion of ideas that could provoke such a question. Right? So there's this idea that you need to have a certain amount of truth to begin with in order to have more truth and datum, right? To have a certain amount of facts in order to have more facts. And that if you started with complete nonsense, that you'd only get more nonsense, right? So garbage in, garbage out. What do you guys think about this idea? Like this is a lot of the time relates to AI. They're saying AI is getting worse probably, or it will get worse over time, because if it's been fed on human art that was its best, you get this for now that's just repeating that. But as it starts to copy itself, it'll be like a cassette tape, they say, that loses quality until it just becomes, as bad as your average human
Okay,
or
so
lady.
the difference is that humans can generate novelty and that these AI are only able to recycle, but it's a fine line, right? Humans generate novelty based on what's come before. So you can't be novel if you don't understand what came before, or else it's just random. So humans learn, AI learns, eventually maybe it'll be able to generate things based on, the accumulation of everything that's been done and then do something unlike it. Who knows? Right now it's still absorbing, it's still learning, and we're still learning. Like, we laugh at AI going, "Oh, it can't draw hands." You know what's really hard to draw for humans? Hands. It's the hardest thing to draw. Like it's the hardest thing, and they're learning, and then we laugh at them.
but
Ah,
we're really good at turkeys, which is crazy if you think about
yeah.
it.
Well, that's because we trace, and tracing is cheating.
Anybody else? What do you guys think about this? GIGO, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out.
I think
Uh,
that the Matrix produces garbage. I think that it's not. I think it's a consequence of the Matrix itself. Like it's
it's
just
it's
it
I
takes
well,
whatever it takes creativity and churns out generic Agent Smith
yeah, I
garbage.
think it's like redundant copycat syndrome, and like one of the real only ways to combat that is like you said, it's definitely a human solution. It has to be a human solution because it's mostly a human problem, really. So the human solution is just everyday human curiosity. As long as we just stay curious about shit and just keep wondering like how shit works and how shit came to be, we should be all right when it comes to like that kind of like rampant redundancy that could just threaten to like kill everything beautiful. So yeah, just stay curious, y'all. That's
I
what I would
guess,
say.
but should we make machines more human or should we make humans more machine? It's a question.
I've been holding back.
Hmm.
I'm trying to not answer until everyone else does, because otherwise I'll just rant my way through it.
I mean, I ultimately, I mean, as far as like AI, like I don't know, I'm okay with it because I personally I trust life. I do for the like I think like I'm like 51% trusting humanity. I have faith in humanity. 51% of me has faith in humanity. 49%
It's like
doesn't.
coin flipping a grain of salt on it.
Yeah, yeah. I think at least they get humanity has my net positive faith. Like 100, like always. Like
Sure.
Really?
it'll.
Okay,
That's
okay,
all right. That's
but I
more than
mean,
me.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but if you see yourself running headlong like into a wall, you hit the brakes, like
Would you rather
you
be
can.
trapped in the woods with a bear or a computer printer?
No, but but like, yeah, like, I'm all more fatty as well, but I think that when people say that they have faith or that they trust in the system or in the world or in how things will turn out, they don't factor in that the resistance is also part of that process. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like those that are resisting the change are counter to the flow of things. No, they are the flow, and so yeah, they're part of that process. If it goes too fast, too quickly, it's bad. We got to take our time. We have to listen to the resistance of like the for anything really, you know, like that's the whole conservative versus liberal like back and forth. Though they want to overstep and they go, whoa,
Kurt, make man
we
more
have
like
to.
machine or make machine more like man?
There's a third option. There's
Have
always a
sex
third
with the
option.
machines. The machines.
You don't have to do anything. No, yeah, there's the assumption that you have to do something with them. You don't. Like, I don't
Okay,
know.
but no, but that'll happen anyway. So we can't discuss the do nothing because obviously something's happening. Like if nothing was happening, then I would agree with you. But
We're
well, we could
on
just
the
ditch it
ship.
all.
We're on the ship and we got to steer it in a direction. I think that's
agree,
what
I
we're
agree.
getting at here.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, if we're trying to steer the ship into not crashing, I guess what we do is we try to make machines more human. I guess that seems
Best
like a
option.
right rational thing. You know, that seems to be an alignment with our will or whatever. You know,
Well, you know, like
to be the only
try
option.
to try to fill it with the best qualities of man that we know of, and all the best values that we have. And try. I mean, we can only try, really. But like,
Yeah,
why
but
would you
there's a
fill
lot
it
of
with like
qualities.
bad things? You know?
Right.
Yeah,
there's a lot of qualities of humanity that are not good, and there's a lot of qualities about machines which are more optimal. It's like
sure, but I meant actual qualities. Let's call them virtues or something.
qualia.
We know.
Yeah.
We know the good. Because we got to try. Like, you know, we could feed it the garbage. We could feed it all the porn. This is the main thing that AI is currently used for, just like everything else, porn. Because I think sex is the ultimate diplomatic tool, right up there with comedy. Because sex is like it's literally how we communicate with shit. The most. That's how we interact the most with things. There's a Rule 34 for everything. There's a Rule 34 for everything on Earth, including AI itself.
So I think that GIGO is kind of nonsense, and here's my pitch. The problem with this is that it infers that some data is true and some data is false, as opposed to that data can be both true and false depending on how it's interpreted. So interpretation is really what matters. And in terms of a large language model, there's reasons why large language models produce the art the way they do. A big part of that is that people are talking to it. If AI was talking to itself and making its own art based on its own weights, it would be running a different system. The way AI is able to, narrow AI is able to optimize which flights would connect with each other around the world, or which people live in the areas that the most Pokemon Go characters were caught, or where people like to go to the beach more, where there are beaches. These are interpretations that can be inferred and logic can be found, right? So AI is doing that on purpose. AI is definitely, able to find out what matters. But that's a separate thing than the language model. The language model is just learning how to parrot and mimic conversation. So sorting is the issue. And if we had better sorting, then what? And okay, so how good is our AI sorting? If we look at DNA has been sequenced by taking huge amounts of broken up pieces of DNA and patterning it together, right? And this DNA has been degraded in ways that's similar to if you'd taken like 30 or 40 libraries and you shredded up all of the books in the libraries and you buried them and you came back in a year and a half and you found this compost pile and you tried to get an entire copy of Shakespeare, like not the whole library, just one book out of all of that, right? And they have systems that can sort and infer and connect all that data together to do that. So we really do have really good sorting systems. And I feel like the more AI is going to grow, this is also, I was putting up the George Lucas quote, but it was like how people feel like as an AI in filmmaking is inevitable. It's like saying, I don't believe these cars are going to work. Let's just stick with horses. I think that's true to an extent, but I came up with, and I'm working on actually like a paper about this. I'm a nerd. Compost in, diverse systems out. Working title, I don't know, but this idea that compost in leads to diverse systems out, because transforming poor quality data through proper processing can lead to robust and innovative AI outcomes. Right. So I this is my pitch, but also my bet. I don't know what you guys think. What do you think? Is it GIGO or is it kids?
uh I mean, I don't know. I mean, I definitely am kind of avoidant to buy into the whole GIGO thing, the garbage in, garbage out kind of thing. I do see the potential, you know. I kind of agree with you there. And yeah, I mean, well, what do you foresee like actually happening in spite of, I guess, everything
Degenerating.
yeah, like in spite of
Yeah.
everything like replicating on itself, becoming
So there,
redundant.
right. I'll answer that in a second, but basically the short answer is phenomenological diversity. But Kurt, you had your mic up for a second. What were you going to say?
We're still on the topic of
Kids versus GIGO. Is it garbage in, garbage out, or is it compost in, diverse systems out?
with artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and basically in fundamental reality, because it actually the reason that I believe this comes down to reality itself. Oh, hey, Bernie's here. What's up, Bernie?
What up? I'm back.
Yeah, I think
Been listening in. Great conversation.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, we'll ask you what you think in a second. Kurt, yeah, kids versus GIGO. GIGO.
what are the kids doing?
So they're leading through sorting of data to inferring information and patterns that we might not even recognize exist, right? This is how we find medical scenarios where they can predict 2 or 3 or 4 years before a doctor can that someone has cancer, because it can find patterns in people that we never noticed or looked for. So data can be found if there is data. Like you could, and when they say garbage in, garbage out, well, a lot of the data in is video or sensorial information, right? So it's actual experimental sensorial data. So it's not just garbage, it's junk, but junk is compost. So if we compost that data and let things grow in it,
It's fuel to grow your garden.
hence
Suck.
the kids are, but you don't
Or
think so?
if you live in Calgary,
Yeah.
Canada, they have now taken $55 million of taxpayer dollars to start a compost heap for the city, and it's because it's $55 million, not because it costs that much to simply cover rotting vegetables and turn it into soil, but because they're repackaging it and selling it to everyone and turning it into an industry. So literally, your garbage will turn into fertilizer.
Right. Good metaphor. But yeah, and just the literal like metaphor is good. But in terms of this idea of like data or information that is broken up, what do you think? Like Kurt, is it
Can we turn the poop into magic? No, I think we're starting to realize the limitations of a lot of what we're doing. Like in terms of like computing power, like the prompts that you put a prompt into AI, like any prompt, and apparently it takes like a lot of energy just to generate that prompt. And well, theoretically, we have this super awesome amount of energy coming from the sun, and maybe all that's sustainable. I don't know. But I don't think a lot of the information that we've been sifting through is like we always have to bring back the information to our lens. And so if I don't know, there's a lot of great information that's just in these dark corridors. We'll call it, I don't even know what to call it, this big, huge, conglomerates of information. But like, I think a lot of it truly is wasteful, and that's why we're a little bit exhausted of the whole thing. I think we're exhausted.
It seems like it isn't that.
Sure,
Isn't the humans? It's the humans that are doing the prompting, and so when the humans are doing the prompting, we get bored of what humans have to redundantly ask for, right? It doesn't have to be that way. AI can do all kinds of different things. Like the only thing that's really, when people say that the AI art is redundant, what they're missing is it is new enough that people are finding it novel right now. And
But
it's following formulaic rules.
AI, Xirtus, is human redundancy because it's all based off of human created material and information that it's sorting
Yeah,
through. And then
humans
just
are made of
rearranging.
stardust too, right?
thing
Humans are
is,
made of stardust and have the same energy flowing through them. That the thing is, like Kurt just said. Kurt just said
For
this.
sure.
It's really interesting. I want to point this out. That humans use a quarter of a calorie or something like 20 watts to run their brain. It's like 420 watts a day, right? That we're 460 that we're using to run our mind, which is a tiny amount. It's like a light bulb, but that's about the amount it takes to run a single question for ChatGPT. And so on one hand, you could say, wow, it's using a lot of energy and like we should like not drink milk. On the other hand, you could say, wow, this thing is this highly energetic being that is filled with so much of this energy. And how much energy is there? There's so much more energy. And as we get to the point of singularity, it will be necessary for that energy to be channeled into actually prompted, properly guided waves. That's how we become a Dyson sphere, right? It's through like merging our consciousness with like pure intelligence. So
right. Well, you know, that's what we're doing. That's what we've been doing with the internet for a long, long time. We've been amassing all this knowledge and all this information, and no one person can actually access it all. And yeah, it is kind of psychic energy because it's all our minds creating it and putting it all in there, and then we're creating this sort of like this weird noosphere of just all information contained within the internet.